Alright, so I'm out here trying to pinpoint the differences between two different types of two but the same different of toxic mothers. And I guess it doesn't have to be mothers, it could be parent. Seems to be motherly though. Okay, so one causes harm because they're acting and viewing the world out of victimhood. And they are this insecure individual, and their entire identity is that of being a victim. And therefore they cannot perceive you or anyone else as who you really are, because that would shatter the image of who they are. To perceive you in your truth would be to disregard them and their truth of how they're always a victim. And they're this just fucking big insecure ball of victimhood who is constantly looking for somebody to blame for hurting them. So one causes harm by unconsciously, conditionally loving people based on I only will love you if you are the version of you that I want you to be, sort of conditional love. And that causing harm and damage to who you are as an individual. And then there's the other one. Seems a little more nefarious. So one's unconscious harming and hurting and abusing of your own children. And the other one is more malicious and vindictive and willing to act on their perceived victimhood. And sure, one might spew and scream some horrible things, but the other one will take action to make your life, make you so much of a villain that they're taking action actively against you. Maliciously. So one's sort of rejecting who you are as an individual, and the other one's villainizing who you are as an individual and acting out against you as though you are a villain. So basically one has, I think this is it, okay? So, and it's usually when you start to push back in your own individuality. So not only is this person now threatened and put up into their victimhood by you not being the version of you that they want you to be, the other then lashes out against and has identified you and your individualism as a threat to their narrative. So in other words, it was their job to eradicate everything you are as an individual so that they could mold you into what they need you to be for them. And therefore, they reject and villainize and radicalize everything that you are once your individualism starts to push back against what they want you to be. Then they identify you as a threat to their narrative and therefore need to villainize you and be vindictive and malicious towards you because you have now been identified as a threat to their image, their story, their narrative. So not only do I don't stop at completely beating out any sort of individualism that you are as my child. As you age and start to gain little shreds of individualism and self-expression, not only have they been rejecting that their entire life, but as you begin to push back against that, you then become a threat, and therefore you must be eliminated. Because that was the thing. I was like, one is like taking action on the fact that you hurt me. So that's what I meant, like out of like victimhood and taking action on the feeling of victimhood. And I was like saying, okay, so one's like malicious in the sense of you hurt me, I hurt you. But then I was like, what the fuck did I do to hurt you? And it was more like, I perceive you as having hurt me, so I hurt you. It's also just like a defense mechanism. It's like intertwined as a defense mechanism and a survival mechanism. So you're butting head up against a fucking huge thing that they literally feel like they will die if they don't defend and reject anything that seems like a threat to this story that they're telling. Okay, so that's the difference there. It's like one just unconsciously rejects everything that you are, and therefore you can't have a harmonious relationship because you can't authentically express and be you with this individual. And the other identifies this want of yours to become an individual as a threat to their story. So they will do everything in their power to eradicate you. Because it is easier to villainize you and reject and get you away from them than it would be to shatter that image of everything that they've built. So one just sort of unconsciously pushes you away as you inevitably want to become your own individual. And the other one views you and your pursuit of your own individuality as a threat to their image. So they're gonna villainize you and fucking send you packing to keep their image afloat. Yeah, it's easier to villainize you and get you away from them than it is to shatter everything that they've spent their life building. And so they'll forever be playing that role and being unhappy in that role because they themselves are running from their own individual authentic expression. Because they don't feel safe to express it. So they have to continue expressing this mask. This story. And the story is fragile because that is all it is. There's no truth in it. There's no substance to it. It's a story that they defend with their life. Because if you stopped for a second and actually stopped listening to my stories and viewed me as objectively, non-biasedly for my actions, you would see what a fucking monster I really am. So I have to spin this narrative, get you all confused as to the truth and who and what is really going on. That's exactly it. I have to do this peacock dance for eternity, for out of fear you may be able to put the truth together on your own. Because if you just viewed this individual's actions objectively, you would see what they're really doing and see beyond the story that they're trying to tell everyone. So, they sniff any of that out, any truth seeking or sharing individual has to go. You know what else it is? They're rejecting that mirror. They're rejecting themselves in your mirror. You are mirroring back to them exactly what's happening, which is they are not loving you for who you really are as an individual, and therefore you do not love them for who they are as an individual, because they are not giving you who they are as an individual. They are giving you a mask. And you, as somebody who's lived with this individual your whole life, can go, you know what, I'm not buying this mask. I'm not willing to play into this mask. I'm not willing to play into your story. And therefore, they reject your mirror. They are rejecting their own reflection in you as a mirror of their own conditional love. They are rejecting their own reflection of conditional love. They are rejecting their own reflection of projection of... They are rejecting the reflection of their projection of conditional love that you are reflecting back to them. Which means they are rejecting their own reality, and therefore that's why they have to cling to, and it's as a survival-based mechanism, this mask. Because they have convinced themselves that this mask is their reality, and that's why they can't perceive anything else, or that reality will come shattering down, and they'll be stuck with the real reality, which is the one they've been rejecting this whole time. The one that you are reflecting back to them that they refuse to see, so they reject who you are. Because they had you for selfish reasons. They wanted to have something that would love them unconditionally, even though they hadn't figured out how to love themselves unconditionally. And then when you go ahead and reflect that back to them, because that's how this fucking place works, and that's how it works when you raise someone through a lens of not loving yourself, that person is going to reflect that back, and then it's going to be an exact reflection of what that person doesn't want or was trying to escape from, and then they're going to reject you. Meanwhile, it is just them rejecting their own reflection of the real reality that they've been running from their entire lives. That's what I was trying to say earlier. They're rejecting their own reflection of their projection of conditional love. The one that you're reflecting back at them as a mirror. That's why they reject you. Right? Because a good leader or teacher wouldn't make you feel bad for being who you are. They would guide and lead you, and they would empower you to see where, why, and how you can make better choices if you have made one that is not good. That's what I mean. Instead of making someone feel bad for a choice they made or who they are, instead of saying you're a bad girl, you're a bad boy for doing something fucking stupid, as a stupid view as a parent, instead of making them feel bad as a person for that, a good leader would guide them to see where and how to make better choices. So if a child hurts another child's feelings, instead of making them feel like a bad kid or child or person for doing that, you're bad, you would guide them to how to make a better choice in the future. That's the thing. That's how they learn empathy. Explain the situation from a different lens and ask them how they would feel if that was done to them. Guide them to make a better choice. That's what a good leader, or parent, or teacher would do. But no, instead you're going to raise them with conditional love and be shocked and astonished when they reflect back conditional love to you. Even though you had them for the most selfish reason possible. Instead of fucking doing the work yourself. Fucking put your fucking soul work onto another fucking innocent baby individual. Good for you. I haven't been able to figure this out for myself, so let me fucking try to force another innocent individual of my own offspring into trying to figure that out for me. And then when that thing that I brought into the world to do my soul work for me because I couldn't figure it out, can't do it because I haven't given it the tools to do so, I reject it. Good job, good parenting. And then, when you show signs of trying to figure it out on your own, I'm going to shut that down for you. Good parenting. Y'all are demonic fucking monsters raising these fucking children like that. Y'all fucking need Jesus, alright? And not Christian one. So, to bring compassion and light to it, you know how that feels to be treated that way and to be living that life. And so you know that that's not a good existence. So you can know they're not living a good existence because they can't. So they weren't given the tools to know how. Or to fix it. And they're stuck portraying this mask, this story. And that's a prison. And it's not fun to live in a prison. So they're evidently not having a good time. And so, yeah, they're not enjoying it. They're not having a chance to enjoy life. So you can decide you don't need that energy in your life, but you don't need to hate them. You can have compassion for the fact that that's all they know how to do. And then if you have the other version of the mother that I talked about in the beginning, well, at least there's an aspect of them that tries to be a good person, and it's like trying to claw their way out, the person that they want to be but they can't because of this story that they have to keep up. The version of themselves that they want to be and can be at times, but they cannot succeed at embodying that because they weren't given the tools. And that's where you can have pride for yourself to have figured out the tools and being able to, even though you were given nothing, being able to figure it out on your own. Give yourself a fucking pat on the back, a well-deserved one at that, for being able to figure it out with no help from the 3D.